All right, well, welcome back, everybody. Today we have a really unique interview. I have done interviews with a couple of candidates before, but this is truly a first. Working with, or we did work with a couple of sisters who, well, I'm going to go ahead and let them do me a favor and tell me your name and which school you got into.
I'm Ava, and I got into South College, Asheville location. I'm Lana. I got into South University, Savannah, Georgia.
Okay, well, congratulations to you both. And you both are twins, correct?
Yes, very much identical. 2 minutes older, she is.
Okay, we always have to keep bringing that up.
Yeah.
So let's just start off. So when you guys first contacted me this year, so go ahead and if you don't mind telling, what cycle was this like? Was this your second or third time?
This was each of our third cycle in the application cycle. We contacted you because I felt like we needed some more help with our application, our personal statement editing, with our essays, and I wanted to make sure my application was going to stand out. Having been a third cycle, I wanted to make sure I got interviews and I got accepted this cycle.
Okay. How about you? Why did you first reach out?
I'm similar to her, third cycle because I didn't have interviews the previous cycle, so I had to reassess what was I not doing right or what could I critique better, and worked on my whole application, personal statements, interview prep, and just things areas I could improve on and strengthen to help me, which did help me in getting interviews this cycle.
Okay. So let's just start with the beginning. Like, I don't know, briefly, if you guys just tell me why you decided to become PAs.
So I think being in medicine, growing up, our father's a physician in the emergency room. So it wasn't until about senior high school we started shadowing him in the ER. And then when I entered college at Florida State is when I knew I wanted to be in the medical field, in the health field, and really shadowing and volunteering in the ER and shadowing all these PAs. I decided I wanted to do the PA route. So I've stuck with that since freshman year of college, ever since I knew I wanted to do PA. I didn't want to do nursing or medical school. So that's a route I've been stuck with, and that's something I knew I wanted to become. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm similar to her as well. Since we grew up in a family medicine, you're always exposed to the healthcare field, and I always thought, okay, I'm going to be a doctor, because a lot of people go to medical school, do the pre med in college. So I always assume doctor, but then you find out what a PA is and physician assistant. You know that they work similar to doctors and work in a variety of specialties. So once we both shadowed in the emergency room and various other clinics, we saw how they work. So that is a profession that stuck out to us. And that's the
Great.
route we've been pursuing.
Now, did your father, did he encourage you since he is a doctor?
Yes. Yeah. He encouraged us to go into healthcare for sure. Um, and I just thought, like, once I found out more about the PA, I thought that was better suited for us. And I just think that was a better option for us than rather medical school or nursing school. And my dad agreed. Yeah, he highly recommend the PA profession because he works with PAs all over
Mhm.
the ER. He thinks they're the best and they're good at what they do. So he definitely helped us with that path. Yeah.
Great. Okay, so when we first met, I mean, essentially we just kind of went through a rundown of your previous CASPA applications. Did you find that helpful in terms of learning, areas that you could make improvements to make yourself stand out more?
Yeah, like going through what I needed to work on. For example, like my GPA was lower. I knew I needed to retake classes, and like get better experience, gain more patient care hours. Definitely going through my application on CASPA and going through each area where I could improve upon was very helpful this cycle. I agree. I agree. I was more of my personal statement for me. I completely redid it and made it more personal. And I think going through the entire application as well, adding more experiences in that I forgot that I, could have added more shadowing experiences, just make it more well rounded. So it definitely helped going through the entire application process with you.
So, Lana, tell me about the patient care experience. Like, what were your hours? Where did you work?
So for 2.5 years, I was a certified medical assistant. I worked at urgent care, part of a hospital at urgent care for 2.5 years. So I got a lot of my experience through that. And then for right now, as a year, I've been working as a patient care technician in the hospital and the ER. So I wanted to switch from urgent care to a hospital role to just get different experience. So for PCT or patient care technician, I had to do a 5-week program to transition to work in the hospital. So I've just been doing that for the past year. Seen a lot of things. That's probably the best way to gain experience is working in a hospital or somewhere that's kind of busy and fast paced, so you can see a bunch of different things, different scenarios.
What about you, Ava? What was your healthcare experience?
So when I started as a medical assistant, I actually worked at a primary care office, a doctor's office, for almost half a year or so. That was good experience starting out. And then I wanted to do something more hands-on, so I went to an urgent care, a different urgent care than Lana, and I got great experience there. Very busy urgent care, doing a lot of different procedures. And then from there, I always have to do something different. So I went to the ER as well and did patient care tech um, for about 6 months. And like she said, just seeing trauma, get to see how the PAs work underneath physicians and make life-saving decisions. Patients in the ER are really
Mhm.
sick. So I'm really glad I got all those different kinds of experiences.
What about shadowing? How did you guys go about getting your shadowing hours?
So we started doing shadowing hours when we were in undergrad at Florida State University. We shadowed different specialties. We shadowed the emergency room, PAs, nurse practitioners, shadowed a dentist, doctor. Just because we were trying to get into the medical field in college, we didn't really know what we wanted to do. And then, getting shadowing hours at urgent care and primary care. And I also say in undergrad, we also did web shadowers. It's an online shadowing during COVID. So they would have healthcare provider talk to us, and we got to get shadowing hours by watching their video, discussing their specialty and what they do in the field. So that was something that was really helpful to get hours during undergrad. It's called web shadowers, and they have a website. It's very helpful. Glad we started early. Yeah.
I bet. So since you brought up COVID, how did COVID affect or impact you because since you did apply some cycles ago, how did it impact you?
So we were part of some volunteer organizations. We would go to a homeless shelter to do free blood pressure screenings. And we also did Memorial Hospital in Tallahassee. We did volunteering there in the rehab center. So because of COVID, we couldn't volunteer in person. So we lost some hours doing that. And then I was in a medical assistant internship um, during the summer in college, and it ended because of COVID. It got too rampant up there, and so I had to
Mhm.
lose some hours on that. But we definitely made up for it, after college and going forward. Yeah, like doing got hours through web shadowers online was very helpful during COVID. School was also a big transition. I did make some C's during COVID. It was not easy trying to learn how to do class online without stepping foot on campus and being confined to school all day inside your room. So that was a struggle. It did hinder my GPA during COVID. However, moving forward, I was able to retake classes and just to do a lot better in some of those classes because I was worried about my GPA.
What about letters of recommendation? Do you find that was it easy? Did you have more, identified, or was that difficult?
For me, it was easier doing asking the doctor that I worked with when I was a medical assistant because I was working with him one on one. And then the PA I asked for, I also worked with her pretty frequently. It was someone that I worked with on a continuous basis. And then my professor as well. I also knew my professor pretty well, went to office hours. So it was easier asking somebody that I knew and would seek on a continuous basis. Yeah, same. It was easy to get rec letters since I worked with the PA and the doctor at urgent care every day. So definitely, I got their email and their phone number to stay in touch. So when I did leave and asked them for the rec, if they could kindly upload the rec letter again the next cycle, I was able to text them and still keep in contact with them. So luckily, it wasn't too difficult for me. And uploading the letters wasn't hard too. I know sometimes Caspa has glitches, but it worked out. I made sure they were uploaded in time.
All right, so let's talk about the personal statement process. So that was next. And, what were your thoughts on basically rewriting the personal statement from what you've attempted in the past?
So writing the personal statement, I knew there's some paragraphs I could easily remove. It didn't flow with the story I was writing. It was more of like filler. So definitely going through the personal statement, adding some more details that I could include about my journey, like working as a medical assistant, as a patient care technician in the ER. I was able to fill those in, and just to add in new experiences in my personal statement to make it sound personal and sound like refresh from the last two cycles, because I didn't want to use the same personal statement each cycle. I wanted to make it sound fresh and new and updated on my life.
I mean, Ava, for you, when we did the workshop, did you, again, the things that we talked about in the workshop, did you find this to be different than what you'd written previously in
Very
your
much.
statement?
It was very helpful. I started with, why I wanted to go into medicine, and then why I wanted to be a PA, related it to my personal experiences. And then I took out a lot of the other stuff I've done in healthcare that's already in my application. And I didn't need to write about that in my essay. Essay is more personal to why you want to be a PA and what led you to that path and what you've experienced. So it was definitely helpful with the workshops. It was more personal this time. So, yes. Yeah.
So what about schools? I just don't remember off the top of my head. Did you stick to most of the same schools or did you apply to different schools this time around?
This time we applied to similar schools. I know Ava applied to a couple schools I didn't apply to, but a good majority. There's a lot of schools in Florida where we're from. We did apply to a lot of Florida schools and a lot on the East Coast, like the Carolina where Ava got accepted, and Georgia, like on the East Coast. Some more out of state too, but we mostly applied to the similar schools, just because it was easier to.
Okay. So who got the first interview?
We did at the same time, actually.
That's right.
Yeah, we
That's
both
right.
did. South College, Asheville. Yes, yeah, both went we interviewed together.
Okay. I forgot about that part. Excuse me. Yeah. All right. So obviously we did then we moved on to the mock interview preparation. And how'd you feel that process went?
It was good. I definitely needed to have confidence in myself and my answers when I spoke. The mock interview was extremely helpful. I did a mock interview the cycle before. It wasn't as structured as this one was, and the questions were more vague. Like they weren't really catered to what I needed to speak and discuss with the interviewer at the program. So this mock interview was definitely needed this cycle around. Yeah, I also would highly recommend the mock interview. I felt really comfortable the more times we did it. I felt more at ease and more confident in my answers, and really covered a broad range of topics. So that helped me feel really prepared for the interview. I was very prepared. I think I was over prepared. Yeah, you were.
Always a good thing. So I know the results were a little different. So Ava, you were accepted, right?
Yes, I was accepted less than a week after, and Alana was placed on the wait list.
Okay. You're still on the wait list, right?
I got off the wait list. Recently, last week, they took me off the wait list for South College, Asheville. But at that time, I've already committed to South Savannah.
All right. Oh, well, congratulations. I didn't know
Yeah.
about that, but congrats. Um, so we get to keep our perfect scores. We told you before, everybody that we've worked with gets in, so we're still
Yep, there
100%.
you go. Got it.
Um, but okay, so Lana, you did go through some other interviews because
Yes.
tell me, how many more interviews did you do after South College?
I only did one more interview with South University Savannah a month after South College. That was in July too, and they also waitlisted me.
Okay.
And then a couple weeks ago, I just got off the waitlist, so that's where I accepted.
Now, one of the things we did talk about, once your wait list is to make sure that you stay in touch with the program to keep them updated. And you can see that does work. So, um, so you guys are going to be going to different schools, correct? Even though you're accepted to the same program, you're going to go to different schools.
Correct. Yes. I think it's a better thing, so that way we're not in competition with each other. Yeah. We're in the same cohort, and we'd confuse every single person there. Yes, everybody would just.
Probably, it would probably take the full 2 years of the program before they really figure out who you guys are.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So who starts school the soonest?
The same day. It's the same day. I think mine's a week sooner in January. It's like right at the beginning of January. January 6th. Hers is a week before mine starts.
And how long, Ava, how long is your program?
27 months.
How long is yours, Lana?
I believe it's the same, 27 months.
So, are your parents gonna have to decide which graduation to go to?
Wow. I haven't actually thought of that, but
Yeah.
we're gonna have to be one parent to help move each kid up, probably. Maybe one parent goes to one graduation, the other goes to the other. I haven't thought about that.
I was just first thing that popped in my head, like, oh wow, I hope that's not like literally like days apart. At least a day apart, hopefully. But
Yeah.
so, you know, one of the reasons I really wanted to do it, just A, it was a lot of fun working with you both, and I was sure from the time I met you, you guys would both get accepted this first time up working. But and I know, especially I know for Lana, it was starting to seem, we even talked about maybe we might need to do this again, but we have a lot of people who just give up after their first time. And, what would you tell people about that?
I would oh, go ahead. I would say you have to be, if you're really passionate, you really, this is the profession for you, you really want to be a PA, you just need to be determined, you need to be resilient, you need to stick with it and just keep going, keep doing what you can. Last cycle I almost did nursing and almost switched my career path, but I just said, okay, let me give it one more cycle, let me go all in. I retook classes, redid my application, reached out to you, and everything happened the way it was supposed to. So I'm really glad I stuck
Mhm.
with that. Yeah, I agree. I say don't give up. I mean, if you don't get in the first cycle, try again the next cycle. Try and better yourself with your application. If you have to redo your personal statement, get different experience working in healthcare, different volunteering, shadowing hours. All of that is really important. And I would say not to give up because there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and I know you can do it. If you really stick with it and believe you can do it, you can get in. Yes.
Okay. Then we always ask, so for those, obviously the new application cycle, really not that far away, about 6 months. So what advice would you give to those who are just now kind of starting to think about applying next cycle?
The advice I would give would be to continue working in healthcare, getting some patient care hours, doing a job in healthcare, and maybe retaking classes, looking at GPA if you need to increase your GPA a little bit more, retaking classes, finishing your bachelor's, getting those shadowing hours in, working on your personal statement, and definitely securing those letters of recommendation. So then when the time comes, you can reach out to those that are going to write you a recommendation. Yeah, I would say start early and apply as early as possible. I think it opens April 28th is what the date was last year. Get everything ready, prepared. So as soon
Mhm.
as it opens, you can fill everything in and submit your application as early as possible because there are like thousands of people applying to these programs. You want to make sure you're applying as early as possible so you get a chance for an interview so they can see that. That's my advice.
Okay, well, again, I wanted to thank both of you for doing this. It really was a lot of fun working with the both of you, even though I couldn't always remember who was who. But as I said, from the first time I met you guys, I knew you'd get in, and you're obviously going to do great in school, and you're clearly passionate about it. I'm glad you guys stuck it out because other people often give up. But I just want to thank you for doing this today and wish you both the best in your careers as a physician assistant.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks for
so
having
much,
us on the
James.
podcast. We appreciate all your help today and everything you've done this cycle for us, getting us in. Thank you so much.
Thank you.